I hate that because you can't do it secretly. I like when nobody knows I'm recording. All right. Welcome to another Thursday night. Today I went to the mall. I think it was the first time in 2 years. Wanted to buy a pair of pants. A pair of pants because we don't have pants in Tennessee. So I figured I'd get good ones here. So I go out to buy and I, do all my, put the charge and tell me how much, and I put the card in and it gets declined. Oh, man. So I check online, check my balance. Wasn't the right balance. It didn't clear or whatever. So, all right, I'll be back. I go clear it, transfer things over, come back. He has to start over. I'll find the same woman, I guess, because they have commission. That's my guess. If I find the same woman. She comes over, does her thing again, puts all the numbers in, put my card in, waiting for you. It's good, and it's declined again. So now, okay, gotta call the bank. Because I know the money's there. I'm thinking maybe because I'm not in Tennessee. I don't know. I've had that happen many times actually. So I call the bank. Apparently I switched the wrong thing to the wrong thing, and the card was for the one I switched the money out of. So, all right, could you fix it for me? Okay, yes. Transfers it back. We're all good. Approved. Bagging my stuff. And that was traumatic. The woman's reaction for me was so funny. She got so apologetic. She's like, I'm so sorry, sir. I'm so sorry. I didn't, everything's okay now. I just made a joke that it was traumatic. And then, kind of here I'm telling the story. Why am I telling the story? Because I only can give my perspective, but it seems to me, lost somebody. It seems to me, people are getting weaker, mentally, emotionally, and they're incredibly careful. They don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. It's like living life on eggshells. I mean, you remember the 70s, right? We were pretty young in the 70s. I was older than you, but I don't remember. The 70s were pretty tough. I'm just thinking back, growing up and, how the bullies would throw people in lockers. Just the things that would happen, and it'd be like, and that's your life. I mean, it's part of what you experience. There were a lot of gangs and bullies and all that kind of stuff. And, that was stopped. But what came to mind is about being a martial artist. Martial artists are known to be tough. Excuse me. He's back. You there?
Yes, sir.
You missed the best part.
I got kicked off somehow. Sorry.
So martial artists were known to be tough, okay? But it's not just, think about history. You go back 100, 150 years and beyond. People had to be tough or you wouldn't survive. Talking to somebody, teens, young adult, easily traumatized, very easily traumatized. And this to me is where martial arts come in. They need to be real. I don't mean just real beating each other up, but that's part of it. You have to learn you're not made out of glass. But I mean, 100 years ago, Anyway, when I was in school, we had no air conditioning. Remember that? You hand in the paper soaking wet in the sun, you know, when it's hot. Oh, you're dripping all, and it's just like a big mess, and your ink is all, you know, smeared. Now the air conditioning is broke, they close the school down. I've seen that. But what was difficult? Everything was much more difficult. So no AC, it wasn't easy to travel. Fresh food was very difficult to get in the city. If you live on a farm, you're very fortunate, but otherwise, getting fresh food, keeping it fresh, you know, there's no refrigeration. I mean, it was back when they would grab the blocks of ice. They had a literal ice box. It's just so many things that we've gotten so removed from, that without challenges, without adversity, we get very weak. And then what's important to people today is like their TV, Netflix, you know, binge watching things on TV, just passing time, video games, all good, all fun, all whatever. But if that's your life and that gets taken away, what are you going to do? When not being able to play your video game or a new one comes out and you don't get your buy-in in time, that happened to my son apparently. He was waiting and waiting and waiting, and then he looked away for a second and came back. Uh-oh, it's for sale. Push the button too late. That's traumatizing for people. It's mind-blowing. That woman's reaction just really lit my brain. I walked away kind of laughing, like, this is very common. Because I'm guessing that she actually sees shoppers who come in and they are traumatized. It is an emergency. It's so embarrassing for them. It's not embarrassing for me. I don't have money. I don't have money. What am I going to do? I don't think like that. But people think like that. And if you think like that, I recommend you think a little differently, like what's really important. The martial artists were what? The warriors. This is the warriors. It seems like now we have a society of warriors. You know, full of fear. When I was coming up, you know what I learned about fear? The acronym: false evidence appearing real. False evidence appearing real. We have fear to protect us from a real danger. If I'm being chased by a bear, this fight or flight helps me run faster, hopefully get out of the situation. Fight for your life, run for your life. But do I need to be afraid of a cockroach because it's ugly? Oh my God. Or a mouse. People jump on things, they're so scared. I guarantee that mouse is more afraid of you than you are of it. You know, seems like you should be afraid of a snake, right? No. How do you know what snake justifies your fear? And anyway, you don't need to be afraid. You just need to be smart. Avoid the poisonous ones. Well, how do you know what's a poisonous one? You need to learn. You need to research. Little garter snake, people have hit it with brooms and killed it, threw chairs on it, and it's completely harmless. But their fear guides their actions. They're run by this fear. They make their decisions by this fear. Educate yourself. Find out what you can trust, what you can't, what you should be afraid of, what you should avoid, and what you can't. You want to learn how to survive if God forbid you didn't have food? What's edible, what's not. If you just study poisonous plants and you know not to have them, you're going to be pretty safe with the others. So you can kind of minimize it. What are poisonous spiders? What are poisonous snakes? What are poisonous plants? Right? You learn. But today, most people just trust what someone else says. They say it's okay, must be okay. They say it's dangerous, must be dangerous. You just believe it. And then my question is, who are you trusting? But before I go to that, think more about the martial artist and the warrior attitude and the times 150 years ago and more. You had to do what you had to do, or you don't get to eat, or you don't get to live under any shelter or something. You have to do what you have to do. And this attitude of a martial artist was known to get it done. That's why students here, you think about it, we have requirements. Yeah, lessons are part of the requirements. Martial artist gets it done. I have to do this, and get it done. And by getting it done, you make a habit of getting it done. In other words, you live in a way that's promoting discipline. If you live in a way that promotes laziness, just passing the time, making sure you catch every movie or every video game or every TV show, this is all creating habits within us. Whereas a martial artist is trying to make a better life. It doesn't mean a comfortable life. It means a better life, meaning you respond to the world better than if you weren't trained. You handle things better because you've trained. And those of us who have those of us who've had a hard life, grew up with difficulties, handle things much better. If you've experienced pain, this is all blurry. What happened? Did that ever happen before? You guys see blurry?
Oh, you're fine.
Autofocus. Yeah, it seems okay now. So, lost my train of thought there. But if the martial artist, if a person comes up, let's say a younger brother whose older brother gave them a lot of trouble. That younger brother is going to be pretty darn tough because he's used to someone bigger and stronger always bothering him. I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm saying that made him handle other adversity in life. And I'm a big believer in we get what we need in order to develop. And if we get what we need and we don't grow through it, we don't develop through it, we're going to have bigger problems. So we really have to learn how to handle adversity. And that's what true martial arts training has to create adversity. Life creates enough adversity. But if you're handling adversity regularly in the dojo, then in your day-to-day life, it's not so bad. You're used to challenging yourself. You're used to overcoming things. I mean, we say bravery. We always salute bravery. Does bravery mean no fear? Of course not. In fact, there is no bravery without fear. Because if you're not afraid of something, it doesn't take any bravery to do it. And then the obvious thing, how do you overcome your fears? Things you're afraid of? I mean, this, for me, growing up, was probably one of the hardest things in the world, getting up in front of people and talking. But I've been doing it now for decades that it's like to it. But I can remember when a teacher would say, okay, we're going to have an oral report this date, and right away I feel everything go, oh. Yeah, for whatever reason, I hated that. I told one of my teachers way back how I hated to perform. He said, I understand. You're going to perform this weekend. What do you mean? I don't want to. I hate that. He said, that's what you need. That's a good teacher. And because I learned to trust my teachers through experience of other things that they taught, okay, that's what I need. I hate it, but I guess that's why I hate it. Because I feel scared, and I was like, it was never felt like when I practiced by myself, I felt so good, and then in front of people, I was, wow. And then eventually that became easy too. Only by doing. So bravery to face your fears, discipline to step up and keep showing up to get it done so that you also do what you need to do. You know, it's like, okay, you need to perform more in order to get over that, and then I don't show up. I didn't feel like getting up, I was so tired. Well, not only did I not give myself the opportunity to face that fear and start to grow past it, I'm also teaching myself it's okay to not show up. It's okay to be lazy. It's okay to shrug off responsibility, which can transfer to what? A job, with your family, with your children. You think these things aren't a big deal? Everything we do creates sort of like roadways that have destinations. You're developing habits that are going to lead you towards a certain conclusion. If you're a parent with children and you're not doing the right thing needs to be done for them, or you're not disciplined yourself, and then it's like, do as I say, not as I do. Anybody ever experienced that with anybody? Do as I say, not as I do. One of the greatest ways you can influence people is by being the example. Do what you need to do so other people follow because they like the results you're getting. Not because you're the ruler, you're in charge and you tell them to do it. No, because, you know, you want more money. It's like, well, that person has a lot of money. What are the habits that they have? Maybe I can learn from them. Or this person never gets sick. Why do they never get sick? How are they so healthy? They always seem to have so much energy. And so, well, how do you stay so healthy? And then you learn that way. Maybe it's eating, maybe it's sleeping, maybe it's keeping life in balance. This is all martial arts. Self-defense. Self-defense so that you're protected and you can flourish. You can bloom, you can grow into who you're supposed to be ultimately. Real martial arts, practiced right, has this effect. This is Bagua 2. Obviously, if I draw 8, it's Bagua. No, but expansion. Expansion into possibilities, making opportunities that you never would have if you didn't face your fears and do what needs to be done when it needs to be done. Forget those opportunities. They just don't come. Plus, if you're afraid, you'll turn down the opportunity. It's like I think about you changing jobs relatively frequently, but you know, that it's one thing to always stay, no, that I want to get my seniority here and keep this and that be miserable. So you're willing to change. If you're afraid, and this is very much like a relationship, you're afraid to change because you don't know what it's going to be over there, but you're miserable here, you deserve what you get. You deserve to be miserable. Either change your attitude and literally have more gratitude for the job you have, or stop complaining and change. You're in a bad relationship, you complain to your friends about your spouse, either change your attitude and appreciate your spouse, or get out of the relationship. I don't care if it's boyfriend, girlfriend, or husband, wife. Why would you live the rest of your life so miserable? Either change your expectations or change your situation. A lot of times it's just the situation change is not really an option. So you better change your expectations so that your attitude is much better so that you live a better life. We are in control of that life. You want to continue being miserable? So that's why Change to this. See what this is like. We're afraid to change because we don't know what that's like. Yeah, but you don't know what it's like if you don't experience it. You have no concept of what it's like. So if this is the idea of Bagua, this is the idea of discipline, bravery, doing what you're supposed to do, facing fears, etc. You expand, you grow, right? This, you can imagine, is what? Well, clearly the opposite, but what? This is spending all your free time on Netflix or video games. This is not showing up in class. This is not getting your requirements done. This is not paying attention to your duties, you know, procrastinating, putting things off. You're creating a box for your life. You want to live in fear, you're going to get very frustrated. You're going to get depressed. Things don't go your way. Many times you're going to lose purpose. It's like you don't have any drive, you don't have any good habits, you don't have any confidence. Your world shrinks. And then it's easier and easier to scare you. And then through fear, you can be controlled. So I go back. False evidence appearing real. Do you take the time to research what you're afraid of? Do you take the time to get more perspectives, get more understanding, to look deeper into something so fear doesn't lead you? Because now I want to say again, what I just touched upon earlier, who do you trust for your answers? You know, you don't realize TV, movies, videos, ads, etc., wherever you're getting all your messaging from, wherever you're getting your information from, it's all what? If I have let's say laundry detergent, and it's toxic, but I'm a billionaire. And I pay for advertising because I have unlimited money. I can make my laundry detergent, no matter how toxic, I can make it look amazing with commercials and marketing. And if I'm paying a big percentage of the income for the TV station, for example, do you think they're going to be willing to say anything bad about my product? That laundry detergent is poison. It's toxic. That's a conspiracy theory. Those people are crazy. Those people are tinfoil hats. Don't listen to them. There's nothing true about that. That's what they'll tell you. Think about that. Why? Because they lose their job if that sponsor quits. We got to think about that. Who do you trust? Who's writing in the teleprompter? What's the message? What are they trying to tell you and why? Because if they can make you afraid, if they can make you believe something so you buy it, if they can make you anything. They know how to control your mind because they can put it in movies, they can put it in videos, they put it in ads, they put it on TV shows, they put it on the news, and it's a consistent message, all of it. And so you say it's true. You believe it's true, right? It must be true. Everybody thinks it's true. If everybody believes it, it must be true. I don't want to go against everybody because then I look crazy. I don't want to go crazy. Kind of like that woman who really thought I was traumatized because my card wouldn't go through. Yeah, nobody wants to feel that. Everybody knows this one, right? Know thyself. Question is, do you know? I said first, who do you trust? Second, who is influencing you? Who and what? Why do you think what you do? Why do you feel what you do? Why do you believe what you do? How do you know it's valid? Because everybody says so. What if it's completely wrong? But everybody believes it's true. What if it's wrong? How would you know? Could you be afraid of something that's completely nothing to be afraid of? If everybody's afraid of a cockroach can't hurt you. Everybody believes it's true. Must be true. Doesn't mean it's true. Yeah, it came up last week. Mr. Avila is familiar with Crow 777, right? Yeah, he has a saying, belief is the enemy of knowing. You gotta love that saying. Belief is the enemy of knowing. Think about that for a second. Because if everybody thinks something's true and you just accept it as true, are you going to research it to find out for yourself if anything's wrong with what everybody thinks? So that's why I go back to the martial artist. The martial artist, in order to develop properly, goes through training adversity. One of the most extreme, maybe not the most extreme, but is sparring. And even, people even do fighting. But there's fighting for life or death. There's fighting for, pay-per-view TV rules. And then there's sparring, just training. It's all different. But very few people even are willing to spar properly. Okay? As soon as you spar, all your fear can come out right away. People get very upset, they get very emotional. And guess what? That's exactly how you respond to challenges in your life. When your card doesn't go through, you could break down, you could have a panic attack, you could say, oh my God, I'm so sorry. You'd be all embarrassed. Just like getting punched in the nose. So embarrassed, you can't handle it. Or you can just shake it off and say, let's go. You get hit, you blame yourself. My fault. Okay, let's go. And you take this attitude that's just thickens your skin so you can handle things better. And then there's that in the martial arts too. Teachers who have passed down things that are useless. Does the teacher know what it's for? I've worked with a teacher a long time ago who would say, I'd say, what is this? Why do we do this way? And the answer would be like, that's how the grandmaster did it. You're going to question the grandmaster? No, sir. Guess not. But I always had an inquisitive mind. I would ask why. Apparently it was disrespectful to ask why. And then when Grandmaster Park came along and said, ask why. He must be a good teacher. He's telling me to ask these questions. In the classes, I love questions. I want to know what this, if I don't know the answer, I'm going to go figure it out. I'm going to go find it out. I'm going to research it. And if my experience can answer, great. If not, but my answers have to be based on principles, not my opinion. If I'm giving my opinion, I need to catch that and I need to find an answer. So that becomes like an obsession too. And so many years of teaching, it's very rare I get a question I haven't heard before. But if I just have to be right and I give you an answer just based on my belief, how does that help you? I just lied to you because I'm protecting my ego. And how many people continue a story, continue a an information set. That's not true. But because of messaging, they can make you think it's true. How many things in this world are not true that we believe are true? I don't know. I'm asking, have you ever found anything that's not true? I've found many things. I've found many things that are big questions. Everybody thinks this is true. This is very interesting. How many other things are being lied to about? And if you don't take the time to go beyond what people tell you is true, to find out more, this is the blind leading the blind. Belief, the enemy of knowing. Think about that. What do you believe? Who do you trust? Who's influencing to believe those things? Are you checking it for yourself? Can you check it for yourself? If I teach a fighting technique, a martial technique, and students just say, wow, this is neat, like the one we were doing earlier. There's things you have to figure out how to make that work, right? That's not just going to magically work in a sparring situation. It has to be situational, how you take the position, right? And you have to research that over and over and over. Because if you try that before you're ready in a sparring situation, you probably get knocked down or something. You get taken advantage of, you probably get hit. And all that has to be covered. And that's what I mean by your personal experience. Your personal experience. When you start to do your own research, build your own knowledge base, now you have more certainty that you can trust. And then you'll be able to see through the BS of others. You can tell when someone's giving an opinion. You can tell when someone's just continuing a belief. You can tell when someone's just influenced by others and it's just a talking head, reading a monitor. You know, a lot of hypocrisy. Not just do as I say, not as I do, but, you know, saying this is truth, but living this way. We have to have our eyes open. We have to be wise. That's why meditation is so important. Because you start to become more intuitive as well. What's really true? Can you trust this? Why should I trust this? Self-defense has so many levels. And just one thing about current events. You know, people talk about the new normal. People say, I just want to get back to normal. People are depressed because it's not what it was before. Yeah, earlier today, I drove past a house, my favorite house, but because of incidents in our life, we had to leave that place. Well, this is a long time ago. But things that happened in our lives made us lose that. And just driving by there, I missed it so much. You know, it's like, it was my favorite place where we lived. It just, I could look to the yard and what I, you know, it was just so lush and it looked like it went on forever. And I could just walk to training areas with creeks. And it just fit my personal desires. We had to give it up. One of the toughest things I ever had to do. And then a lot of transitions in life because of that. And everybody has theirs. I know that. But I'm reminded today because I drove by there. So my question is, what happens if things don't go back to normal? What happens to you? So the martial artist toughness is where I'm coming from. You need to ask, what can I do if? What can I do if? For example, in Tennessee, and I don't know if you experienced it here at all, I don't think you did, but I was riding home on my motorcycle from clinic, and I had to get to a Zoom class, and I heard the gas shortage, the thing with the gas, there wasn't no trucks coming in. And I could have pulled in and got gas, but I needed to get to class, so I didn't have time. An hour later, there was no gas. My motorcycle was completely empty. And I had maybe half a tank in my Jeep. And so there's a situation where, you know, I had to be somewhere because of schedule, but what if that gas didn't return for a month? You see, it's like, how do you handle the situation? That's gas, like that, bam, gone. Didn't have in nearly a week. What happens, remember the toilet paper? Everybody freaking out over toilet. You can't wipe yourself with anything else? Come on, this is what I mean, toughness. People buying a shopping cart full of toilet paper? This is your emergency? My brain doesn't work like that. It's ridiculous. Freaking rag and wipe yourself, clean the rag. What did they do 150, 200 years? I mean, what did they do? You have to laugh and you wake up. You got to wake up. The things that we get all upset about and obsessed about and taking from each other, right? Hoarding. What if the food runs out? What if the lines for food? Go to the store and there's empty shelves. Have you thought about it? How would you handle it? This is what I mean. A martial artist, self-defense. What good is it if I can punch and kick if I can't even freaking figure out how to eat? I'm just putting it out there. Because if you feel prepared, if you thought about it, it's just in case. I'm not saying you have to become a complete crazy prepper, right? With a house full of military food or something. I'm saying, what are your plans if? No food. Are you going to get food? What are you going to do even worse if there's no Netflix? What are you going to do with your time? That's just it. You laugh, but people will be traumatized. Oh my God, I don't have my TV. I think last year, remember how sports were canceled, right? People were more upset about that than a lot of things. Yeah, it's like, this is my baseball season. There's no baseball. What are you prepared for? What if things don't go back to normal? How are you going to handle it? Can you change? Of course you can, will you? The martial artist will. The martial artist adjusts. The warrior handles what comes at them. If you don't get your conveniences back, if you can't go to concerts, or you can't go travel, or whatever life changes, this is your life now. Figure out how to make it work. And my number one, beyond basic survival, fire, water, food, shelter, basic, obvious, treat each other right and come together. There's too many people today. They're losing friends because they disagree about this or that. This is very sad and ridiculous. It's ridiculous. We need to come together, help each other. We are so powerful in groups. We can figure things out instead of waiting for someone else to figure it out for us. A martial artist doesn't do that. If what I need isn't there, I will be resourceful enough to figure out how to get it and help my neighbor in the process. Because in the end, this is why meditation is the foundation. Because you have to take a breath, center yourself, and handle what's now. Handle what the situation is. Not let your mind go off worrying and scared. You need to get your energy focused on what do I need to do now? What's reality? Not what I'm losing, what I don't have anymore, what I wish I had. What a waste of thought and what a waste of energy. Meditation allows us, remember, to get to the center. So then I can think clearly. Let's go to meditation.